This video is going to show you how you can create any block from scratch, pretty much, but our example is going to use featured comment block. If you take a look at this video on the sales page, it basically is just like it's a plain block. I mean, you don't really need styles with block themes. So we will add some like options for that in the future, but for the most part, a lot of blocks that you receive are just going to provide functionality. And then if you want them to look nice, you're going to use the block editor to make that happen. And so you can see what I've done on some other client sites to create like just a featured comment. Here's one where we're answering the question in the post, essentially taking the functionality that's given and making it look nice. So we're going to do that here inside of a post. The comment that we're pulling is not necessarily from this post. I'm just using this editor as a way to get started. One thing I did want to note is that I'm using creator theme, and in order for us to have a content area that works really well with ads, the editor content area does not match the width that's on the front end. That's not the case with all block themes, but because ours is ad optimized and limited by what we can do with the block theme and WordPress code at the moment, you'll see that my editor is as large as my screen is, whereas on the front end, the content is actually thinner. So I kind of have to keep that in mind when I'm designing stuff. And I definitely switch, like I'll save this post and then switch to this front end to preview it periodically. So I'm going to close these tabs that I don't need. I've already installed this featured comment block, but we're going to insert it into a post and start styling it. So whenever I insert a post, I normally do so by pressing enter and then slash and then searching for the block I need. You can also use the plus symbol, but I'm going to look up featured comment and then I'm going to search for my comment. I don't have anyone in particular, so I'm just picking whatever's first. And it's automatically going to add the post content and the post author for me. If I look inside of the document outline, this document overview, this block comment is the block featured comment is the block that I inserted. It automatically inserts comment content and comment author name. But you can see that it just is plain because we're going to style it with the options provided by block editor, Gutenberg. And I could like rearrange the stuff. I'll show you. Basically, this right here is the equivalent of kind of like this reader love. And I can try and replicate something that's very similar to this. And then we'll put in a lot more blocks to do reader question. So I'm going to give it a background, a header. We'll insert the rating here, and then we'll do like a little embellishment at the bottom. So inside of this featured comment, I can do it. There's a few different ways you can do it. It doesn't super matter. But inside of this featured comment, I think is what I'll do. I'm going to do reader love, move that up. I'm going to not make this a header because I don't want it to show up in my table of contents. So let me just keep it as a paragraph, but I'll style it as if, it is something fancier. And actually, since I'm using a script, I don't need it to be bold. I'm going to make this entire thing have a background color so that it pops. And anytime I add a background color, I do padding all around. I use medium as my default for everything. So this is what it looks like. Let's see, I added a little bit more color distinction. So let's do that. To add a background behind both of these, I'm going to put them in a group. Again, give it a background and some padding. I'll do a slightly smaller padding in this case. And it looks like it's kind of far away. I think I might decrease the spacing so the text is closer to each other. So let's go to small because medium is the default on mine. Okay, that looks pretty good. In order to make it clear that this is like said by Carmen, I'm just going to add, a dash. And then to get those in line, I'm going to use a group that is the type that is a row, and I'll just center it underneath. So center that. It has this large gap in between. Again, I'll decrease that spacing to something really small. And then I feel like this is small compared to this. This author seems large, so there must be some those font sizes look different, right? Ah, so this one was smaller by default. Okay, not sure why. But in order to keep everything consistent, I'm going to remove the custom font sizes that I added to individual items. And instead, inside of this group here, I'm going to add a custom font size so that it will apply to everything within. So now this looks similar. Got this large gap right there I don't want, so I'm going to decrease the block spacing again. Usually script fonts have like really weird line height, so that's probably also contributing to some of this spacing. So let me decrease the block spacing. I'll just go with, let's do extra small. And then because this is a header, I'm also going to go with line height and just decrease that. I know that it probably won't be on 2 lines because it's pretty short, so I don't need to like super optimize that. So this is looking pretty decent, especially with this as our inspiration. Let's add the rating. So this is going to be the recipe. Ooh, you know what I think is done on this? I'm pretty sure this is just the recipe rating. It's not the comment rating yet. I believe I wanted to add that to this plugin, but in that particular case, I just knew I was choosing WPRM. Actually, you know what? Okay, so I know I'm choosing a 5-star recipe, so I'm just going to insert 5 stars here. I'm not going to like try and pull this in. The fastest thing I can do for like speed is to actually just add stars. So I'm going to add images, and I'm pretty sure I don't have any stars uploaded to this site yet. So we might use something else. Let's do 5 cookies. Okay. Giant SVG. SVGs have to be custom enabled with a plugin to use them, but I do that with a lot of my clients right now. And then I'm going to duplicate this image 5 times because this is a 5 cookie recipe. I'm going to put it in a row so they all show up next to each other. We will center that again and then decrease that block spacing. That looks nice. Okay. I guess I accidentally selected everything. I'm going to make these cookies red. Oh, that did not work. Okay. We're not going to make those cookies red. You have to use duotone to change SVG color, and something's not working with duotone right now. So we're going to skip changing the color of these. We'll just leave them that way. Okay, I'm going to say this is our reader love. So didn't take us very long. Looks pretty simple. Oh, you know what? I believe there is an embellishment at the bottom here. We can do something very similar to that. I'm going to keep it. Well, we already have cookies. I don't think I'll do that on this one. There we go. So I think this would just be like my reader love here. Just something like this. I think ideally I probably would change these to be red images over time, but I just can't demonstrate that in this video. I think I like that better. So this is probably what I would start with. And then if I wanted to do multiples on this site, I could always do that. I would just switch out the comment that I selected here. So I change a different comment. See if there's anyone that says like 5 stars. A+, 5 stars. Was delicious. Thanks, Amy. You are a perfect example. Yeah. And so I could duplicate this, and I could do like 3 in a row, and I could just like alternate colors or something like that. So I definitely love this block, and I love the editor in general. You can do this with, like, you can make this sort of thing with pretty much anything. You just have to be, you can tell I like pretty well know what kind of groups I need and where I need groups in order to make something happen. And then of course, like, you need to know that you have to have a featured comment block in order to feature a comment. There's stuff like that where you're like, oh, I want to do this. And you have to like go find some sort of small plugin to like allow you to. Okay.